Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. Thanks for stopping in. Glad to see you here. Today we're going to be doing the Busqueda machine on HackTheBox. It's an easy machine, so it's not terribly difficult, but we'll explain how it works as we go through here. Yeah, if you're interested in signing up for HackTheBox, I do have affiliate links in the channel description, so check them out. And yeah, sign up for HackTheBox and get the cybersecurity skills that employers are looking for. Let's go ahead and get into it right away here. We got a machine overview. This is a high-level overview of what we're going to be doing to pwn the machine. So for initial access and the user flag, we have arbitrary code execution vulnerability, which is it's in a vulnerable version of the searcher application. This application is using version 2.4.0, and we're gonna, once we get initial access to the machine, we're gonna get the user flag right away. And then once we have the user flag, we got to escalate our privileges to root. And to do that, we're going to find some plaintext credentials for the user account, and we're going to discover a get-t repository. And once we discover that, and we're gonna log into the user account with SSH with the creds that we found, and we're gonna discover that there's a Docker machine on, or a Docker container running on a machine. And with that, we're gonna be able to find more plaintext credentials to get the get-t administrator account. Once we have that account compromised, we're gonna be able to see some of the source files, and we're gonna be able to discover a vulnerable script within the Docker container. And then with that information, we're going to exploit it via a insecure relative path with that vulnerable script. These are the remediation defenses. So this is what you would do to prevent these attacks from happening. We're not going to dive into this yet. We're going to get into this at the end. So let's go ahead and minimize this for now. And just going to minimize that. And so the first thing you want to do is do a port scan, so like an nmap scan. I've already done it to save time for this stream, so if we do a cat ports.txt here, these are the results. If you scan all the ports on this machine, these are the only two that's going to be open, at least on the TCP side of things. So we have port 22 and port 80 open. So naturally on port 80 we want to check this with our internet browser. So to do that, we'll load up our internet browser here, and we'll copy the IP address in the HackTheBox dashboard, and we'll open up a new tab here, and we'll just paste the IP address in here and see what happens. So as you can see, we get this site can't be reached, but that's not a problem because it's just redirecting us to searcher.htb, as you can see here and here. So to get around this, all we have to do is go back to our terminal here. Let's go ahead and clear this out, and then we're just going to do a nano to modify etc host. So nano etc host, type in your password. You have to run this as root. Only the root account can modify etc host. You have to type in your password correctly, obviously. Strong passwords, man, get you every time. There we go. That took a while. Alright, so let's go ahead and put in our entry here. So to do that, we would do paste the IP address, and then we're just going to do searcher.htb. And then Control X, Y, enter to save. And if we do cat etc host, we can see that our entry is right there on the top. So when you have this in your etc host files, now obviously your attack IP, your target IP is going to be different than mine. So do note that. Once again, you get that from your HackTheBox dashboard, as you can see here. But once you update your etc host file, you can go back over here to your web browser and refresh this, and the web app loads up. So this is an application called Searcher, and it literally says search anything with Searcher, and it's just a search engine that lets you use multiple engines basically. So you can see there's all kinds of different search engines here that you can choose from, and then you can just type down here and search whatever you want. We're not really too concerned with searching things right now. But if you scroll down all the way to the bottom here, what is interesting to us, because we're trying to exploit this, or at least trying to find a way to exploit this, and a good way to start out is by looking at version numbers. So if you see a version number on an application, that's always a good sign. So you can see here we got powered by Flask and Searcher 2.4.0. So we can actually copy this, and if you see a version number for an application that you're trying to exploit, it's always in your best interest to just do a Google search like this. So like the name of the application, the version number, and then exploit like this. And there's multiple exploits here, and this one right here I actually couldn't get to work prior to the stream. However, this one does work, this one by Nexus. So if we click in this, and this is a POC, that stands for proof of concept exploit, and it just tells you basically how to do it, and it's actually very simple. So it says, so we just prepare a listener and we just send this as a search query right here. So let's go ahead and copy this. Hello Dennis Sam, thanks for stopping in, glad to see you here. How you doing today? First chance you got to attend live, great quality, thank you, I appreciate it. Thanks for stopping in. So yeah, we'll copy this here, and then we're going to paste it into our mouse pad here. So paste this, and the only thing that we have to modify with this is right here, is attacker IP and port. Obviously for our attacker IP, that's our IP address, so for me, this will be different for you, but for me it's 10.10.16.17, and then the port is the port that you want to listen on. So this could be any port that you want to listen on. I want to listen on port 443. And that's the only thing we have to change with this. Oh, okay, awesome, Dennis. Got you, man. Yeah, thanks for telling me that. Because I didn't know. So thanks for letting me know. Well, yeah, thanks for stopping in. How you doing today? So yeah, the only thing we have to change is the IP address and the port in this search query here. So we're just going to copy this, and we'll go ahead and close this, and we don't need to save. So we only had the mouse pad just to modify what we were going to search. So go back over to the search application. Actually, before you do that, you need to let's go ahead and clear this out. We need a starter listener, as the exploit said. So to do that, netcat-lnvp443, and once again, the port that you want to listen on doesn't really matter. Just make sure it's the same as whatever you're going to put in a search query. So for me, again, it's 443. And so we got a listener right here, and if we go back to the searcher application and we paste that search query that the exploit told us to search for, this will get us a reverse shell. So what is this doing exactly? So essentially this is just doing a basic reverse shell. You can see there's bin./sh, and it's just calling back to our attack machine, and it's a pretty simple reverse shell. But if you search for this, you'll see it gets frozen up here on the top here. You'll see this spinning circle, and this typically happens when you have a successful reverse shell on a web application. So this is actually what you want to see if you're trying to do a reverse shell, because if you go back to your terminal where your listener was, you can see that we have a connection here. We can actually do who am I, and we are the SVC account. We can do ID, and once again SVC account. And then if we do a print working directory here, we're in the var www/app directory right here. And so now that we're on the system, it's always especially when you're doing catch the flags on HackTheBox, it's always in your best interest to just go into the user's home directory that you compromised. So change directory, and then the tilde sign, the squiggle here, that basically is a shortcut for going to the user's home directory. So we do pwd again, and you can see we're in the SVC home. And if we do ls, the list of contents, we have a user flag. So if we cat user.txt, we already have the user flag for this box. You would copy this and you would paste it into your HackTheBox dashboard to capture the user flag. Obviously, this flag changes every single time you play the machine, so it's going to be different for you. So you can't just copy this. You actually have to do this yourself if you want to capture the flag. Okay, so with that user flag captured, now we're looking to escalate our privileges to root. We need to figure out how to get root access here. And enumeration, if you're unfamiliar with the term, it pretty much means search for information. And when you're searching for information, you're pretty much just looking through the machine for any interesting files that might help us progress through the machine. And an interesting file is found here. So it's /var/www/app/.get/config. If we cat this out, we can see so we see Cody, and then we see a password here, and then this is for the get.t.searcher.htb. So this is get is like a lightweight version of GitHub essentially. It's just a Git repository, and this is actually hosting code. So we need to get access to this, and we actually can get access to this with the Kodi account. So if you go here and you log in with the Kodi account with this password here, we can actually log in. However, even though we can do that, we don't need to do that. There's not a lot of fruitful information there. I just want to let you know that you can actually log in to this. But we're not going to, just because, like I said, there's not a whole lot of critical information that we need there. However, this password is actually the same password for the SVC user. So let me show you. So we can actually SSH as SVC, and then we want to add, so to log in by SSH is SSH, and then the name of the account you're logging in with, and then the IP address. So come back over here to our dashboard, copy this, and we'll paste this here. And then it's going to ask for the password, so let's go back to that other tab, and we will grab the password here. And we'll just paste it here. Keep in mind, if you're unfamiliar, when you're typing passwords in Linux, it doesn't show up, so it will be blank. And as you can see, we have logged in as SVC on Busqueda. And we can clear out our terminal, and if we do it, who am I, and an ID, we are the SVC account. So the reason why you want to SSH into the account, because we clearly have access to SVC here, but we have, so almost always, actually I don't think I've ever actually seen like a really stable shell from an exploit. So when you gain unauthorized access to a machine for the first time, especially through like a web application, it's typically not a stable shell. And non-stable shells obviously aren't good, because there's a lot of little quirks, and it doesn't work the way you want to. You don't get like tab autocomplete. You can't clear it out. Like for example, if I type in clear, it's not working. So it's always best to try to get the most stable shell as possible. And when you SSH into a machine, that is the most stable shell that you can get. So it's always in our best interest to SSH into an account if we can. Now we always don't get that luxury, but here we do, and we're gonna do that. For example, we can do clear. As you can see, it works here. So that's why you want to do SSH instead of just keeping this shell here. I mean, you can work with this if you want, but like I said, I highly recommend upgrading it to an SSH shell if possible. Okay, so with that, we still need to figure out how to escalate our privileges. So one of the common commands you can use to figure out what kind of permissions you have in Linux is sudo-l. You push enter on this, and we got to type in our password again. So we'll just paste the clipboard here. And you can see user SVC may run the following commands on Busqueda. We have /user/bin/python3 /op/script/system-checkup.py and asterisk. So this command right here, this is one command right here, and we can run this command as root, as you can see here. So let's run the command and see what happens. So sudo, and then we'll just actually, we will copy this, copy selection, and we'll paste it here. Push enter on this, and you can see that we're actually using this command incorrectly because it's giving us how to use it essentially. So usage, and this is the command that we typed in, and it's given, so it wants us to put action in and its arguments. So these right here are the actions that we can run. So we got docker.ps, docker inspect, and full checkup. That's what it wants for an action. That's what it means here. So if we do up arrow key and we get rid of this asterisk here, and we actually do like docker-ps here, paste that in and push enter, this actually gives us containers that are running on this machine right now. As you can see, we got get t and we have MySQL. Now MySQL we're not interested in, however we are interested in get t. So this one is critical to our success for privilege escalation here. So we can also do this as an action. So see what happens here. So if we do up arrow key again, we'll delete this docker-ps and we'll paste in the docker-inspect and see what happens if we run this. So this was an improper usage. So it wants us to do, so we had the command right, but it wants a format, as you can see here, and a container name. We already have the container name because we have the container name here, but we don't know the format. So a good way to get the format, since this is Docker, we can actually look at the Docker documentation to see, you know, what it means by format and how to format the query that we need to do. So if you go to, you can do this, you can get this by Googling, but the exact URL that I'm going to reference here is docs.docker.com/engine/reference/command line/inspect. Push enter on this, and we have a Docker inspect documentation. If we scroll down, you can see we have options here and we have format. So format output, let me zoom in so you can read this better. Format output using a custom template, JSON, print in JSON format template. Print output using the given Go template. And it says refer to docs.docker.com/go/formatting for more information. So this doesn't make a whole lot of sense, so it makes, naturally we want to navigate to that URL for more information. So that, once again, that's docs.docker.com/go/formatting. Push enter on that, and we actually get redirected to /config/formatting, and you can see format command and log output. And this is documentation on different kinds of formats that you can do. So you got like join, table, JSON, lower, split, title, and what we're interested in is all the way on the bottom actually. So it says hint, to find out what data can be printed, show all content as JSON. And you can see Docker container ls. So this right here is the format that we need to use. So let's copy this, and we will go back to our terminal. So we'll hit the up arrow key again, and so this is the same command that we just ran. So once again, that's this, and then we need a format. So we can actually just paste what we just copied. So the format is right here, this JSON, this apostrophe, curly bracket, JSON space, period, close curly bracket, and another apostrophe. That's the format that we need to use. And then we need to put the name, as the documentation says, container name after that. So remember, the container name is get t. So we'll copy this, copy selection, and we will paste it here. And push enter on this, and we get a whole lot of information that's incredibly useful to us. However, it's super hard to read, which is kind of common. So we need to figure out how to make this in a more easily readable format. You don't have to, you can sit here and try to read this if you want, but to get this in a more readable format, it's actually quite simple. So it's just up arrow key, same command, and then we're going to do pipe and then JQ. Push enter on that, and we get the same information but in a nice, neat format. And as you can see, so let's scroll up here, because the information that we need is a little, keep scrolling up, right here. So it's in this section right here, and if you look real closely, we can see get T here, and we can see password, and that is a password. So we copy this into our notes, and you'd put that in your notes, and this is actually the administrator account password for the GetT repository. So remember when we first got on the box over here in this tab, we had the get.t.searcher.htb, and I was telling you that you can log in with Cody, but Cody didn't have a whole lot of information. However, the administrator does have some critical information. So let's go ahead and log into this get.t.searcher.htb as an administrator. Let's go ahead and clear this out. And we actually want to, so let's open up a new tab, because in order to connect to the GetT repository, we need to make an edit to our Etsy host again. So once again, that's sudo nano/Etsy host. Hit my password in right the first time that time. That's a miracle. So this, we already have an entry for searcher.htb. So all we have to do here is put GetT in front of this. So GetT and then period, and that's all we have to do. So Control X, Y, enter to save, and we do a cat/Etsy host, and this is the entry that we need in our Etsy host file now. So go back over to our browser, and this is what we use to get our initial shell. Obviously we got a proxy error, and that's okay, because this still has the searcher.htb. We can delete the search query here, and then in front of this, all we have to do is put get.t.searcher.htb. Push enter on that, and this takes us to GetT, get with a cup of tea. So like I said, it's a lot like GitHub, but it's like a lighter version of GitHub. If we push explore here and we click on users, this is how you know that there's an administrator account, by the way. You're not going to know this right away, but when you first discover that there's a GetT running and you come here, you'll see this. So like I said, you can log in with Cody, but the information isn't as useful as an administrator account. But we can clearly see there's an administrator account, and that password that we just found actually goes to the administrator account. So we can hit sign in up here, and then we can log in with administrator, and then the password. And if you click here, you can see signed in as administrator. So awesome, we are the administrator for this GetT repository. And I think the easiest way to get to where we want to go is probably click the main up here on the top left, and then you can see administrator/scripts. So we want to get into this administrator/scripts repository, and there's a few different scripts in here, but the one that's really important to us is the system checkup.py. So this one right here. And if you're wondering why this is important, if you go back to our terminal as SVC, we can close out of this. So remember, as SVC with our shell, if we run sudo-l, remember we can run this script right here as root. So that's why this file is highly important to us, because we can run this as root. We can't modify it, but we can run it. So let's see what is in the file. So all we have to do is click it, and once again, this is system-checkup.py on the GetT repository under the administrator account. Scroll down, and this is where the vulnerability is for the privilege escalation vector. Right here. So it is this full checkup section right here, specifically this. So full checkup.sh is a bash script that is being called by system checkup.py. And the reason why this is vulnerable is because if you look here, you see this /. This means it's doing relative path. Relative path means, so a good way to think about a period in Unix directory nomenclature means this. It means this directory. So when you run /, it means you're running
Hackerman. He's the most powerful hacker of all time. Follow me.
Insomnim. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Insomnim, thank you so much for the following. Welcome to the stream. How you doing today? Glad to see you here. Thank you so much for the follow. So as I was saying, a period / means we're running from this directory, and we're running full checkup.sh in this directory. Why this is vulnerable, why this is a vulnerability, is because we can go to a different directory and we can place full checkup.sh, a malicious version of full checkup.sh, because this is just a bash script, and we can put anything we want in this bash script and then run it. And essentially we're creating a malicious full checkup bash script, and we're running it in a different directory. And I'll show you how to do that. It's a little hard to explain, but I'll show you. So let's go ahead and clear this out. And the temp directory is always, almost always, at least in my experience, I've never seen it not writable, but temp is generally writable by all accounts on the system. So if we do change directory /tmp to navigate into the temp directory, and like I said, we want to make a malicious version of this. So we can actually just copy, because we want to make sure it has to be the exact same name. It can't be, you can't have any difference in the name here. And we'll just paste this. Oh, nano, and then paste clipboard. I guess I didn't put it in my clipboard. Copy, paste clipboard. There we go. So nano, so we can create a file and edit it. So this is blank. So now we can pretty much do any kind of bash script that we want. We can do any command on the system, because this go back to the shell. So remember, system checkup.py is ran as root. So when this is ran, it's running as root. And anything that is in this script is also running as root. So that means, where to go? Full checkup.sh is going to run as root when this is ran. So we just need to write a bash script here that is going to give us root access. And there's multiple ways you can do that. You can do like a reverse shell. You can put the SVC account in the sudoers file, and there's probably thousands of ways you can escalate your privileges at root with this. However, I think this is the easiest way. I'm gonna grab my notes here. I like to copy and paste things because I always like to typo stuff. So what does this mean here? So if you're unfamiliar with bash scripts, the shebang, that's what this is. The hashtag exchange point is called a shebang. /bin/bash. This just means, hey, it's telling the file like, hey, this is a bash script, and everything below that is what's going to get ran. And smod, so that stands for change mode, so we're modifying the permissions of something. Plus X means we're adding the SUID bit to /bin/bash. And this right here, just this one line, will give us root access. And let me show you. So we will control X, Y, enter to save. And if we do cat full checkup.sh, this is our file. And then to make this file executable, because if we do ls, you can see it's like the white here. If we do chmod plus X, and then full checkup. So plus X means we're making it executable. So if we do ls here again, we can see it's blue now. So now it's executable.
Hacker Man, he's the most powerful hacker of all time.
Follow me.
Thank you so much, 7 Eskimos, for the follow. Thanks for stopping in. How you doing today? Glad to see you here. I really do appreciate your support. Where was I? Oh yeah. So if you're in this temp directory and you get your file deleted, my file is already deleted. So you actually have to do this section of this box relatively quick because there's a cleanup script in the temp directory. And
Hacker Man, he's the most powerful hacker of all time.
Follow me.
yo, Clay Hacks, thanks for the follow, man. Appreciate you. How you doing today? Thanks for stopping in. Thank you so much. But yeah, this temp directory has a cleanup script in it, and it will just wipe out your files after like a minute or two. So you have to do this part kind of fast. So we're actually going to do it again, but I'm not going to explain it this time because I already explained it, and like I said, we got to go kind of fast. So let's just go ahead and do it. So once again, we have to do nano, and then name of the file was fullchecker.sh. And then we want to paste this in here. Control X, Y, enter to save. And then we want to chmod plus X, plus X, fullchecker.sh. And then now all we have to do is run sudo -l. We need to run this command right here. So if we copy this, copy selection, paste it here, get rid of this asterisk, and then we do full dash checkup. Push enter on this. Permission denied. Why did we get permission denied? Oh, I know why. We didn't do sudo in front of that. So if we do sudo !, enter, now that's going to work. So yeah, you have to run this as root for it to work, otherwise you're going to get permission denied. And then sudo, if you're unfamiliar, sudo -! just means the last command. So when I do sudo ! It's running the same command but just putting sudo in front of it. And when it runs, you're gonna see done. So you'll see this plus done, and that means it ran successfully. So now all we have to do is /bin/bash -p, and this will elevate our privileges to root. You can see we got a different prompt here, and if we do a who am I, we are root, and if we do a ID, you can see that even though it says UID SVC and GID SVC, we have UEID root, EGID root, and we're in the root group. We are root, so we have full access to the system. We can do whatever we want. So let's go ahead and capture the root flag. So if we do cat/root/root.txt, and this right here is the root flag. Now obviously the flag is going to be different for you when you go through it, but you copy and paste this in your HackTheBox dashboard and you are done with the machine. And that is it. This box is it's easy for a reason. It's pretty simple, but if you're new to hacking, then there's definitely a lot of things you can learn here. It is a fun machine. I think this one. Sometimes I do like quick machines. Like I do like being challenged a lot actually, and that's really where you grow. But sometimes a quick machine is just as fun as a super hard machine. So I do appreciate fast ones sometimes. So, but yeah, that's the machine. That is it. Like I said, I always like to do at the end of after I compromise the machine, I like to go over like, hey, how can we stop this? So let's go ahead and go full screen on my slides here. The real Zaddy. This looks complicated. It can be complicated. If you're new to hacking, it's definitely like if it says easy on HackTheBox, it's not. I don't think it's beginner friendly. Like you have to have a lot of prerequisite knowledge and prerequisite skills before you can even really attempt easy machine on HackTheBox.
Hacker Man, he's the most powerful hacker of all time. Follow me.
Real Zaddy, thank you so much for the follow. Thank you so much for the support, and welcome to the stream. How you doing today? What's up, Bad Jeff? Thanks for stopping in. How you doing? Glad to see you back in. Super informative. I'm glad you found it informative. Hopefully I explained it pretty well. If not, you can always ask me questions after the stream. But for remediation defenses, like I said, I always like to go over like if we're going to compromise a machine, we should at least be able to explain how to make the machine more secure, because that's our job as cybersecurity professionals and penetration testers. So it's not always about hacking in and being done. It's all about making our clients more secure. And assuming that HackTheBox is my client and this is their machine, this is the recommendations I would give them. So for the arbitrary code execution for the searcher, it was on 2.4.0, and everything 2.4.2 and below is vulnerable. So to get rid of that vulnerability, we just need to patch the searcher application to a version greater than 2.4.2. I would recommend upgrading to the latest version of searcher, but if you are higher than 2.4.2, keyword higher, if you're running 2.4.2, you're still vulnerable. So make sure you're higher than that, and you're good to go there. And our initial access exploit would not exist, and we'd have to find a different way to get initial access in the system. For the plaintext credentials, we found two different plaintext credentials. We found passwords for the user account, for the Kodi user on the Git repository, and the SVC password on the machine. Those are using the same account, so I recommend don't share the same passwords for those accounts, and definitely don't put them on the machine in plain text. So it doesn't really matter how secure you think it is. Just never put plaintext credentials on your machine. And then we also got plaintext credentials for the Git administrator account. Same thing. The solution is simple. Do not store plaintext credentials on your machine at all. There's literally no reason for it. And then for the last vulnerability here, so the insecure relative path exploit. So that's that file that we made a malicious version of. We put it in the temp directory. We can thwart that vulnerability by setting the vulnerable script to use a full path in a location only root can write to. So let me explain this a little bit better. If we go back to here, so in this script right here, the system checkup.py, if we got rid of this backslash and replaced this with a full path to a directory that only root can write through, then it's done. It's a wrap. This vulnerability wouldn't exist, and we'd have to find a different way to escalate our privileges. So hopefully that makes sense. And so here it is again. But overall, if we apply all of these to Busqueda, we would have a much more secure system. It would be hardened. It would be a lot harder to compromise. So those are my recommendations and defenses to secure this machine. And that wraps it up. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. And I look forward to the next stream with you guys. Thanks so much for stopping in. Thanks for hanging out. And if you're not on HackTheBox already, I highly recommend it. It's a great platform for learning cybersecurity skills that employers are looking for. I do have affiliate links down in the channel description. Click those links. Sign up for HackTheBox. It does support the channel. So yeah, check it out. You do this for fun, or is this like work for your profession? It's both. It's both. So I'm a cybersecurity professional. Specifically, I'm a penetration tester, and I do HackTheBox for fun. So HackTheBox is a way to practice my skills in my off time and level up my skills. And that's really what HackTheBox is good for. It's really to fine-tune your skills. Now, HackTheBox Academy, in my opinion, is better for learning the stuff. So if you're brand new, I would recommend going to HackTheBox Academy. And then once you start knocking out those modules and you start getting to like the intermediate to hard level stuff in HackTheBox Academy, you can probably start trying to do the easy stuff on HackTheBox, the main app. Like I said, HackTheBox, the main app, is more for practice, fine-tuning your skills, and learning just different attack vectors and practicing your hacking skills, whereas Academy is learning it, if that makes sense. What's up, Crickets? Welcome to the stream. Thanks for stopping in. Glad to see you here. That's so wild. God bless you, sir. Well, thanks for stopping. I'm glad you find it fascinating. But yeah, it's just hacking and penetration testing and cybersecurity. It's just so fun to me. I just there's always so many things. There's so many things to learn and so many things to explore and practice, and it's just truly like it's fun, and I'm just really thankful and glad that I can do this, you know, as a job, and I have fun with it too. So you know, my passion is my profession, and I'm just thankful that that's the case for me. But enough rambling. I think I'm going to go ahead and close the stream out. We've already been streaming for 41 minutes. Yeah, this was a quick machine. This was an easy machine. I do agree with the difficulty level, and yeah, it was a fun machine. So next stream will be this time tomorrow. So hopefully I see you there. I don't know what machine's retiring next week, but whatever machine's retiring next week, that's the machine that I'm going to be streaming. My English is kind of bad, but there you go. I'm trying to install VM Kali Linux. That's how it all starts. You know, let me give you a funny story. So I installed Kali. The first time I installed Kali Linux was in, oh boy, it was the end of 2019, right? It was the end of 2019, and I installed it, and I had no idea how to use Linux. Not a clue. I've never touched Linux before, and I'm like, I need to learn how to use Kali Linux because I always wanted to be a hacker. I always wanted to be an ethical hacker. I always wanted to be a penetration tester. So I got the Kali Linux revealed book, and I started reading through that, and I just didn't know how it worked at all. Like, I'm like so confused, and it literally is like, you know, you need to do an introductory Linux course. So then I went and pursued the CompTIA Linux Plus, and that's how I learned Linux. And then after that, I learned networking, and I learned Python, and then I learned some more advanced cybersecurity topics. But overall, it took me, you know, it took me over 3 years to get to the level I am now, and that's like with a lot of hard work and a lot of consistent hard work, like, you know, day in, day out of like actually learning cybersecurity and hacking. So it's not easy, and it takes a while, but if you're passionate and you have a desire to learn and a hard work ethic, then you can make it. So that's my story, and you know, hopefully you guys find that inspiring. But yeah, overall, it doesn't come easy. It just you gotta put in the work, and you gotta do the hands-on exercises. All right, that is it for me. Let's go ahead and close this music out here, and we're gonna do our outro. All right, once again, thank you so much for hanging out. Thanks for being here. Hopefully you found this informative. Like I said, next stream will be next week. At this time, it will be the most recent HackTheBox retired machine. I don't know what machine it is yet, but we will have a stream next week at this time. So hopefully I see you there, and hopefully you enjoyed the show today. So until then, peace out. Take care. Have a good one. Kyser out.